Listen, Judge Mershon, Sean, the judge that's hearing this, did the Alan Weisselberg case, put him in jail, not once, twice. You know who else Judge Mershon's having? Steve Bannon. He has Steve Bannon's case. This is no coincidence.
Now, I know Alina Habba is not an expert on the law. That has been demonstrated by her public statements and her inability to win a case for Donald Trump. We all know that. But the judge's name shouldn't be tough to get. It's not long. It's not complicated. Was that supposed to be a joke? Was that supposed to be a slight? I literally don't even understand. I'm not sure Alina Habba understands what she was doing there. Now, yes, it's a judge, so he is overseeing multiple cases. That's what judges do. They don't generally come in, do one and then leave. That would be a really inefficient way to run the judiciary. And so, yes, he's involved with other cases. And I do want to thank Alina Habba for reminding us that Donald Trump is not the only prominent Republican or even Trump-affiliated prominent Republican that is facing legal troubles. Steve Bannon is, in fact, we have developments on that with the DOJ asking just earlier today, US District Judge Carl Nichols, Nichols, because everything's Pokemon these days, to order Bannon to begin serving his 4-month prison sentence for contempt of Congress that was upheld when he lost the appeal last week. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the damage report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you. Theoretically, Steve Bannon could be headed to prison soon. Now, that's Judge Nichols is the one that had previously placed a stay on Bannon's jail sentence while the appeal process went forward for a couple of years. Here is what the DOJ said in their motion. There is no longer a substantial question of law that is likely to result in a reversal or an order for a new trial, adding that under these circumstances, the court shall order defendant be detained so the stay of sentence must be lifted. Now, the Court of Appeals that ruled on this on Friday said we conclude that none of the information sought in the trial subpoenas was relevant to the elements of the contempt offense, nor to any affirmative defense Bannon was entitled to present at trial. Basically saying the various legal arguments that he'd made don't make any sense. They're not actually gonna save him. And so that's what the DOJ is referencing. And they seem right, so can we get on this? Could he get, it's only 4 months, he'll be out eventually. I think he'll be around for the election actually, but he did the crime. Now the DOJ is just asking that he do the time, and that's how that phrase works. So Sharon, what do you think?
I'd like to give him some time, more time to get his affairs in order. I don't want to see him go on the inside until about August so that we can hopefully breathe a little bit easier. He'll probably mess up, go to solitary confinement, and that way he'll be there through the month of November. He won't be able to reach the outside world. And I think that'll be better for the country. That's just me, my personal belief. But if he has to go now, then I guess get on with it.
Yeah, look, when you mentioned getting your affairs in order, I would say that, based on every visible piece of evidence about Steve Bannon, the 4 months could be a significant chunk of the time that he has left on Earth. And I know he obviously has a lot that he wants to achieve with his remaining months. He looks out at this American experiment with democracy, and it just bothers him so much that has not been ended yet. And I know that he wants to destroy that system before he finally passes. But I do want to give you his statement that he said in response to this. He told ABC News, "I'm shocked they want to silence the voice of MAGA." That's such a stupid thing to say for a couple of reasons. First of all, the narrative is that they're always trying to silence the voice of MAGA. So why would you be shocked? The deep state's always coming for you guys. You're perpetual victims. So you messed up the narrative. Also, you're not the voice of MAGA. Trump is the voice of MAGA. If I was Donald Trump, I would be pretty angry at that because who the hell does he think he is? Third, that's not how it works. Okay, so if I rob a bank and they come for me, I'm gonna be like, hey, CNN, they're trying to silence the voice of Dragon. Okay, you still did the crime. You literally didn't show up. You had to show up, you didn't show up, you knew what the legal consequences were going to be. You can provide whatever cover story you want, but you did the crime. We are supposed to be a country of laws. I personally like law and order. You broke the law, you need to go to jail. That's the order part of it, again. By the way, I also just want to, before your final comment, I want to let you know, Rudy Giuliani needs to be served with a notice of his indictment in Arizona. We talked about that a few weeks ago. They can't find him, okay? So he apparently has been criminally charged and must appear before a judge on May 21st, but he hasn't been served yet. He's the only one of those charged that hasn't been served. And I have to say, I'm a little bit confused about that because I'm pretty sure that he's still doing his podcast from his studio. Hang out there is what I would say to the Arizona officials. I don't know, does he need to go to Arizona for them to serve him? Because he does need to show up. I mean, we're 1 week away from that, Sharon. Any final thoughts?
Maybe Rudy's hanging out with the guy who was accusing Hunter Biden. He's not the first person to go missing. He'll show up eventually. This is a circus, a clown show that it's the gift that just keeps giving. And about Biden, Bannon's statement, if you will, he's doing it again. Remember how angry Trump, they had they broke up. Bannon was taking too much credit for MAGA and the whole being the engineer, the conductor of the whole thing. He's doing it again. And that's not going to be very helpful to his cause. So the advice would be to stand down before Donald Trump has him banished again.
Yeah, look, Steve Bannon's rise to prominence with Trump, him being banished and him mostly getting back into Trump's good graces is honestly one of the most amazing personal parts of the whole Trump period. But the thing is, Steve Bannon, there are a few people in this world that are as impressed with themselves as Steve Bannon. He is very confident that he is one of the most clever tacticians and strategists that politics has ever seen. And so if and when he returns to the Trump White House, which there's every reason to believe that he will, the clock will be ticking for him to be banished once again because he can't control himself. He says stuff like that, the voice of MAGA and all that. He is very, very impressed with himself. And Donald Trump is very, very sensitive to threats like that. And so I don't see this working out for him. In any event, they gotta track down Giuliani. They said they believe that he was likely in his New York City apartment because he had recently video streamed from there. Well, yeah, so go there. I don't know what else you have to do. People are saying send an agent to Four Seasons Landscaping. I don't know, send a bunch of people to go check the area massage parlors, whatever. You can find this guy. He isn't a world traveler. He can barely get around. And so anyway, we don't have time to get to the crossover between those two, but it is good to see that even if for Donald Trump, there's still an open question of whether there will be consequences for actions, for the lower level guys, they can still suffer those consequences, which is good.